All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 96th episode of The Get Down. My name is Kareem.
Gary W. here, and I'm happy you got away with that without messing it up today. No, I'm just kidding. The fact that you forgot it 5 seconds before we started recording is funny.
Well, we've been talking about improving the podcast and different ways to kind of do certain things, and we were talking about changing up how I started the intro. And literally right before we started this, I'm like, wait, this is how I normally start the podcast, right? 96 episode in. I had to think about that for a second.
Oh man, that's good.
So
yeah, you had an
coming off a
interesting
big
weekend, man. You had an interesting weekend, which we talked about a little bit. Going into it and what you were expecting. So how'd it go?
Yeah, so it was a huge travel weekend. It was just a really big weekend overall. 2 big shows, doing Avalon in Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, and then heading all the way down to Atlantic City to do day and then nighttime with Nervo. I thought there was one kind of, I don't know, I guess prevailing topic that or something that happened in both shows that I think is worth talking about. But so Friday, it was a headliner set. I played with Dakeem, who's kind of the resident DJ over there. He does a great job opening up the room. And when I went on, it was pretty light in there. When I walked in, I'm like, man, there's really nobody here yet. And it didn't really start filling out, especially like when I went on. So when I went on, I still treated it like, all right, there's 1,000 people in front of me. Like, let's go. Let's do the headliner thing. Let's get on the mic. Let's do the intro. Let's bring people to the front of the stage. And it worked. All the people that were there, while it might not have been 1,000-person night, they all were engaged. They all I asked them to come to the stage. They came to the stage. I did my big intro. I asked them to the birthday shout outs, make some noise. I did the whole thing that I would normally do on a big opening or a big headliner set. And it paid off because, like I said, it brought everybody in, it got them engaged. And while the crowd wasn't the biggest, they were really, really happy with how the set turned out because they saw what I did with not the most filled room. And the manager came up to me at the end of the night, was like, dude, you did an amazing job. You really kept everybody here. We made some money, even though it was a slower night. The opening DJ was texting RM on the side, yo, Kareem is crushing it. We need to move him. We need him on Saturdays. So if you approach these sets, no matter how many people are in front of you or whether you think it's a high profile gig or not, if you approach them as if it's the biggest show in the world, sometimes it'll really pay off. And hopefully in this particular case, I go from a Friday guy to a Saturday guy, which is a big difference.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. I have a whole separate thought process on the Friday, Saturday thing, especially as a traveling DJ. But it's something that we have talked about time and time again, and we've always highlighted Carlos Melange and how he always went into every set, no matter how many people were in front of him or what room he was in, and looked at it as a show, like you said, or like he said before. It's interesting, and it's important not to get down when you walk into a room and see that it's only half full, right? And you have to take that, and you have to still execute your headlining set. You still have to go in with a positive mindset and look at it, like you said, as if there was 1,000 people in front of you, and this is, you're playing the biggest show of the year. Because number one, you're traveling, right? They're paying for you to be there, to not only DJ but to stay there. So you really have to go about it like, listen, I'm the big deal, and if there's not a ton of people in here, we're gonna walk in here like we own the place anyway, and really get everybody involved and get everybody engaged, which you did. Maybe touch on how you go about doing that right from Jump Street, how you go about engaging with the crowd, and okay, you walked in, the opener's playing, you see the room's not full. What are you thinking about? All right, I'm going to jump on. What am I going to say? What's my, you already have your intro picked out, right? That's pre-done no matter who's in the room.
Yeah. Usually it's specific for that gig. I'm making an intro for that show.
Right. So get into kind of what your thought process is on how am I going to engage a crowd? What am I going to say? And what does that first 15 minutes look like for you?
Yeah. So I think first and foremost, if you have an opener that knows how to open a room, it's not their job to have everybody be at the front and jumping around and going crazy. So if the opener is doing a good enough job where they're leaving you enough room to take the energy from, let's say, a 7 to a 9 or a 10, that's the first start, right? If the opener is burning the shit out of you, then you kind of have to reset the room where maybe you drop it down and you don't do the big intro, the first few songs. You change up the vibe, you lower the energy to hip hop or whatever, and then you do the intro, and then you get on the mic, and then you do your thing. So that's kind of the first thing. But I think just getting on the mic, introducing myself, letting people know that I'm from New Jersey and I'm not from Connecticut and I've traveled to play this gig, even if they don't know who I am, it kind of sets you as the headliner, right? It gives you, all right, this person was booked from another state to come here, right? There's got to be a reason why they did that. So even if they don't know who you are, I like to let them know, like, what's up, guys? My name is Kareem. I'm from New Jersey. I'm excited to be back rocking with you guys. And then generally I will ask them for energy, right? If it's your birthday, make some noise right now. If you're celebrating, if I know that there's like, the last time I played there was a barber convention. I shouted out all my barbers. If you're a barber, make some noise right now. So there's different ways you could do it based on the room you're in. But I think introducing yourself and then asking for energy back by saying to do something is a great way to start your set. And then combine that with a really big intro that changes the energy from what the opener is playing to now saying, hey, like, we're turning the lights off. We're going to have a really slow build and we're going to have a big drop and it's going to start the show. And then keep the energy. You got to keep hitting them with stuff.
Yeah, these are really important points because I don't think this is stuff that, as an up and coming DJ and you're starting out and you're playing bar gigs. And I know there's a decent amount of, younger DJs who do listen to the show. These are things that you probably haven't thought about yet down the road. But a lot of our guys, specifically our guys, will encounter this hopefully at some point. So I hope they're taking note. Go ahead and then I'm going to follow up my second question.
There's definitely, this is not just for a travel DJ gig either. This can be for your everyday gig as well. Now, most of the time in your like open to close bar gig or local gig, if you're playing the whole night, you're opening for yourself and you're headlining. So there's still a way to transition between the first and the second. And you could do it a lot of the same ways with the music you're playing, by not using the microphone until you're ready to get into your peak hour. And then again, asking for the energy back, right? Or, put your hands up or happy birthday or shout to the bottle people. Like there's a lot of ways to do it. But I think if you start thinking about this on your full night gigs and start treating your full night gigs as if you're the opener, but you're also the headliner, and having like a break or a way to distinguish between the two,
right?
You're practicing for when you are the headliner and you do get to go do the big intro and introduce yourself kind of thing.
Man, I might use it anyway at Birch next week.
You definitely should use it next week.
Since I'm opening for myself.
When I open for myself at Birch, I do not shout any bottle girls. I shout any bottle service. I don't shout any birthdays until we do the big intro.
Right.
And then it's mic work time and it's time to go.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you said something else that was kind of caught my ear is that the DJ who is the regular DJ there who opened for you. What's his name?
Dakeem.
Dakeem hits up RM and says, "Oh, we got to get this guy back here on Saturday." Now, would you be offended? Well, I think as a venue, I'm thinking this guy did a great job on a night that's it's not our peak night. It's not Saturday. He did a great job on Friday. Like, I would think about, hey, let me have him back here another Friday. Maybe make it a monthly residency thing. And then like people come out to see Cream once a month, out of market. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a great managerial. That would be a great managerial move instead of pulling you into a night where it's already established. RM does a great job up there and they bring talent as well. But I think, we can think about this too. Also, like guys that do great jobs on those off nights that keep a crowd around and put money into the register. Like those are the guys that it's don't just throw them automatically to Saturday because you did a great job in a tough place. And you get put in a tough position and the place made money. So like I don't know if you would, I don't think it would be your position yet to be like, oh, maybe like I come back on a Friday next month and see how that goes. And if it goes well again, be like, well, maybe we can make this a regular Friday thing. Like, how do you feel about approaching that topic if you were invited back for another Friday, let's say? Well, you're going to be invited back. We know that.
Well, I already have another Friday in the books for the, like, so I started working there, I think in May. I think this was my fourth. I want to say my fourth gig there.
Okay.
So I'll have 5 gigs for the year. Basically, it's like an every other month thing. So
Right.
to me, I think he looks at it, that manager, maybe as, well, if Cream does this well on Friday, when we have a half-filled room, Cream is going to crush and we're going to make even more money on a Saturday when we have a full room and all the tables sold and, we have the bigger events that bring in more people. I mean, listen, we all know Saturday is a bigger night than Friday anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe then if I'm doing every other month, maybe I do a Friday one month, and then the next time I'm there, I do a Saturday, and the next time I'm there, I'm a Friday, and maybe that's the way they do it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just when you hear these things, anybody as a DJ, when you hear these things and you hear that there's positive feedback, there's always ways to kind of maneuver your way to maybe squeezing out another gig or two, to positioning yourself in a way that you're needed in that place for that specific day. So in this case, a Friday where it might be a little slower.
Yeah, I think the next time the manager hits me up, I'll say, like, I love being there. If you want me back more, I'd be happy to be back every month instead of every other month. Maybe
Right.
he thinks that it's a travel gig and I don't want to do it, or it's too much. I don't want to do that every month. So maybe he's only giving me every other month because I haven't let him know that I'm good for every month, kind of thing.
Right.
Also,
Yep.
I was new there, so I wasn't really asking for anything. I was just happy with whatever kind of came my way. But after 3/4 of a year and 5 or 6 gigs, like, if they're happy with me, then I could ask for something.
I think when you do well in that specific position, when the place is going to make more money or making as much money as they did on this Friday night, that was a little slower than they did on a packed Friday night last week, it puts you in a different negotiation position.
Right.
And that's kind of the way you have to look at it. Maybe every other Friday that you had played was, it was good. It was a solid Friday, but this particular one was a little slower, but you still proved your worth, and now you have negotiating power.
Right. Yeah, when you get good feedback like this, you can use it to your advantage. If it's a place you really want to be and they're telling you, we really like you, you're doing a great job, you're making us money, we're happy, you can ask for more. You could ask for more gigs, you could ask for more money, you could ask for better gigs, or maybe you get a special event then. Maybe you ask to do New Year's, maybe you ask to do Halloween, maybe you ask to do one of those. Once you've established yourself and have, like you said, built a little bit of this what would you call it? I don't know. You've built a little bit of rapport, I guess, or
yeah, some positive rapport with not just the opening or the regular DJ that plays there, but also the management and ownership. I think there's a huge there's a huge line here between somebody telling you that you killed it and then somebody telling you that, hey, on this slower night, we still made money, we did well. That's real positive feedback, right?
Yeah.
Somebody just saying, oh, you killed it tonight. Yeah, we hear that. We talked about this. You hear that all the time. It's such a repetitive. I kind of just wish people would stop saying that, but whatever. When the manager comes up to you and says, you know what, it was a little slower tonight, you still did a great job, you pulled everybody was engaged, and we made money. That's the key thing. Well, now the ball gets thrown into your court where you can ask for things, not in an aggressive nature, but frame it out to where it's not just a benefit to you, but it's also a benefit to the venue.
Yeah. And
that's a great way to grow within that space.
So I think another reason why I brought this up was because on Saturday at the pool, Jaeger and I did the day party. Day party's fun. You play super open format. The way that I tried to come in and transition was not with like a ton of mic work, even though I did get on the mic and ask for those birthday people and brides to make some noise. I like really quick mixed. I was playing a lot of music really quickly to try and like build some energy. And that was one way of doing it for a party like that. But at nighttime, I opened for Nervo, and I played my open set. I was not quick mixing as much. I was not playing super high energy. They came on around 12:30, and it was just really nice to see them do the same thing where one of the girls is out in the front of the stage on the mic, hands in the air, lights are going crazy, big intro. And it was just cool to see someone else do the exact thing that I had just done the night before, kind of thing,
Right. Yeah, definitely.
And again, Harris wasn't like 3,000 strong. It was like, it wasn't slow, but it wasn't jammed to the gills. When it's jammed to the gills, it's easy.
The layup.
It's a layup. It's the other nights and how you do on those nights.
To your first point, the pool is just a fun party. It's not going to be like, jam packed. And quick mixing is the way to kind of keep everybody engaged. I actually got on the mic a bunch when I was there last time, which is not like me, but it really kept everybody that was in the pool facing the stage, because there is a fair amount of people that are facing you and watching you, and they're engaged in the music. So that's just a fun party. And yeah, definitely quick mixing is the way to do it. And you have so many different age groups of people, and it's very.
Yeah, Jaeger did a great job. Like he kind of hit a little bit of everything too, and when he was on, so it was a good time. We had fun. It was fun hanging out with Jaeger too. Like we got to spend the day, and it was good.
That's the fun part about that gig. And then later on, you played with Nervo, who's world renowned, right? And they're traveling all over the world, and that's definitely it's got to be reassuring to see them do the exact same thing, like you said that you did the night before. I mean, and then they're just going to go play their set. I mean, they play an artist set, and that is what it is. Did you close on Saturday?
I did not. I did not. They actually close earlier now. So they double booked me and someone else. So they just had the other guy close out the last 30 minutes, which was fine because it gave me a chance to kind of talk to the girls. And the first thing that I think it was Olivia had come up to me and said, "What was the last song you played? I need that." And it happened to be a Cream edit.
Nice.
So I got her information, and last night I sent her a folder with like my originals and a bunch of my like top 8 edits that I thought maybe they would play.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. I will see if I hear back from them. Maybe we'll check out 1001 track listings. There'll be some Cream edits or originals in there. It's one of their upcoming sets.
That'd be dope. So I'm assuming you tried to tailor make it to what their sound is, what you thought they would play, or.
Yeah, I just kind of picked the ones that they kind of play. They play a little of everything. They played a little electro. They played a little tech house, and then they played a bunch of techno, which I think is really popular overseas more so now than in the US, but it's growing in the US for sure.
Like peak tech, like Adam Bear stuff.
Like, I don't know, like big room techno.
Yeah. So like Adam Bear stuff, probably.
Like the sound that like Hardwell tried to come back with, or is trying to come back with, type thing.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I don't listen to that music, so I can't really give you, like, we got to get Chubbs on here, or like Trizzo, or like Tone Setter. Those are like the techno guys.
I was thinking Chubbs immediately when you said that, but
yeah.
All right, so it sounds like it was an interesting weekend. I mean, it's cool to get out and do those different venues and have those different perspectives. And you had a hell of a drive in between the two places. I told you we need to get you new management when you were on your 4.5 hour journey.
I normally would never have said yes to go do that, but because of the opportunity to play with Nervo, I wasn't going to turn that down, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
of course.
It honestly wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Just woke up super early, left early, got there, with more than enough time. So
yeah. All right, nice.
One of the other things that this whole weekend, right, we've had DJs in and out of the booth the whole time, right? Either with me or I was one of the DJs that was just hanging out. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what is the proper etiquette if you're a DJ and you're either going to support someone, or you've just played a set with someone else, or, if you're the headliner and you're hanging out with the opener and vice versa. Like, what are some things that we should be thinking about, or the listener should be thinking about when it comes to like DJ etiquette in the booth? There's so many ways to go with this, but I'll let you start it off and then I'll piggyback.
I'm thinking music first, but honestly, no, I'm a big fan of having my space. Like when I'm playing, I need to have my space because like I'm bopping around, I'm dancing a little bit. And then especially like if I really am like into what I'm playing and like I'm mixing pretty like quickly or hard, I guess you would say. Like I'm moving a lot. And like the minute like somebody bumps me and I'm like hitting a, hitting a cue point or something, like I completely like, I do not like it. I do not like it at all. Like stay out of my way while I'm mixing. Like because it's happened where I've had 4 guys in the booth and in a small booth. And I'm like, I don't want to turn around and be rude and say, guys, like, I really need more space here, which I guess I could. But like, I feel like with DJ etiquette, you shouldn't have to ask.
The
So
DJs should know better. They should know how to act in the booth.
that's what I would say. And then I think not just the DJ thinking about themselves, but then also if that DJ brings in friends that aren't DJs and they just like kind of like are not excited about being in the booth, but they're just in the booth and they step up there just to have room in case like if the room is packed. Like those guys don't know. Like those like I don't need like some drunk kid falling into a CDJ or falling into the mixer, or, whatever it might be. I'd almost rather those people not be in the booth at all, like especially if it's somebody that I don't personally know. This is all personal preference. I know this is cringeworthy, I'm sure, to some people that are listening to this. But that is definitely personal preference. Like I need my space. If I don't know you, you shouldn't be in the booth. And if you're a fellow DJ, don't be bringing friends into a booth that you're not DJing in. Now I'm thinking in smaller booths right now. I'm thinking of like our local spots. That's why. If you're at Harris and you're on the stage and you have like a section off the side, it's different.
Yeah, I mean, they don't want anybody on the stage at Harris. Like
not on the stage, but you have your sections on the side.
For sure.
You would never be, but that's the difference. Like you would never be on that stage. You couldn't bring anybody onto the.
I was actually hanging out on like the side of the stage once they went on, and like I got settled. I got my stuff out of there, put my headphones away, and I was kind of hanging off to the side. And like they came up to me, it's like, hey, they want to clear the stage, so like, can you come off? And I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Right.
So even like someone who was DJing on that stage, for a bigger artist, I think it's important to remember like people are trying to get video, they're trying to get content. They don't want random people behind them or near them to be in the content, So I think that's one thing. But on a more local level, I think the few things that I think about would be there's nothing more annoying to me, especially like if we're getting into the peak hour of the night, someone that's like talking to me while I'm trying to DJ. Like, I get it. Like we always tell people like, come out, introduce yourself, come hang out. Absolutely. I want you to come do that. But if it's 11 o'clock or 11:30 and like it's starting to get busy, you got to leave us alone. I don't know. I think that's like the number one thing for me is when people are talking to me, it keeps me from doing my job. Like we could talk before the set. We could talk at the beginning of the set. We could talk after the set. But once it hits a certain point, I don't care if people are in the booth or around me, but don't distract me from doing the best job that I can do while we're trying to pick up steam. And I think that's my number one thing for DJs for sure.
That stands out to me. I've had that happen a couple times on like slower nights. So not like a peak hour night, maybe like a Thursday or a Sunday, but like I'm still trying to mix. I've gotten pretty okay with talking to somebody and mixing at the same time. Like I can pull that off at this point.
Yeah, but like you can't think about the next 3 songs you're going to play, which slows everything down.
I'm okay with trying to keep a conversation if it's like not a crazy night. It's an off night. It's not a Friday, Saturday. Friday, Saturday, I'm not talking to nobody. Like I don't, like the manager sometimes will come over and talk to me and like I'm half listening because I'm doing my job, and then I'll have to go back and like kind of circle back and see what the manager wanted. But like having a conversation, it's like out the window. That doesn't happen at all.
Yeah. I think it happens at Tally Ho. It used to happen for me at Tally Ho on Thursdays all the time, a lot. And it would get to a point where it'd be like, I love that everyone's here and supporting the party and hanging out, but I need somebody to like be an intermediary between the booth and access to me so that I could do my job kind of thing.
That party particularly was like, it was like an industry party. So yeah, you had a lot of people there that
a lot of regulars too
were DJs that were regulars that are just in the industry in general that you're friendly with. So it's just natural for them to come up and talk to you. And I think it gets lost sometimes, especially when it's like that booth is in such close proximity to the crowd.
Yeah. I think some of the other etiquette that I was thinking of would be, if you're there and you're not working, like you should at least offer to pay for your drinks for sure. That's one of them. Even if you're hanging out in the DJ booth.
Huge.
The one you said about like, yeah, it's cool if the DJ comes in, but like your boys or your girlfriend, like you can come in and say what's up, but like you can't hang out kind of thing. I think that's another good one.
Let's talk about this. How about when somebody's opening for you, right? And then you go on, and then that person wants to hang out in the booth, and it's their significant other that's in the booth with them. Like that's a toughie. But like if it gets too tight in the booth, you got to create that space.
Yeah,
right?
That doesn't happen as often, I guess, but I don't know. I guess that would be one where it's like booth by booth. You know, if there's enough room and they can stand like behind me without touching me. Yeah,
right.
I actually like a lot of times when there's like our DJs kind of hanging behind me, like at Birch, for example, because there's crowd behind me also. So they can like keep people from tapping me on the shoulder. They know not to like interrupt me. And it's like fun to feel their energy behind me also.
Yeah.
So like that's fun.
It is. That is a lot of. I mean, that just reminds me of Boiler Room, right? Like, I don't know if I'd survive in Boiler Room with all those people around me all the time. Be a nervous wreck. I think that's really what it is most of the time. Is just being nervous that something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where my frustration lies in it. It's not the fact that I'm actually frustrated. It's the anxiety of, well, if something happens, it never ends well. You know, like if somebody gets bumped or something gets shut off and you have to kind of figure out what's going on. I don't know. That's just my anxiety, I guess, what that really comes down to.
Yeah.
How about requesting songs? How about like other DJs requesting songs? I mean, I think there's a fine line there.
I think that is a big no-no.
Yeah.
I think you as the DJ should know you should not be asking another DJ to play music. Now, if I'm sitting in the booth and I'm like, man, I'm not really sure where to go, and I'm asking you for advice, that's completely different.
It's different.
But if you're tapping me on the shoulder and be like, yo, you know what song is really dope or would go great with this? Like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to hear that ever.
I've done that. I've definitely done. There's only really one or two people that I feel comfortable even doing that with, and Greg is for sure one of them. Like I've told Greg numerous times. Like
if it's one of your really best DJ friends, that's a different story. If it's you or I in the booth and we're sitting there, just like that's a different story.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking more along the lines of like if you're going to show support or hang out, because we're always saying come support, come out, introduce, go to the places you want to play. There's a certain way to act when you're there, Yeah,
for sure.
Something that I try to do from if I'm headlining and there's an opener, I try not to like linger behind the opener because I don't want to make them nervous. Because when I was younger and I was opening, it would always make me nervous when it would be like 11:30 and the headliner got there and I'd be like, oh man, I like really got to do a good job because they're listening to my set or they're going on next. So what I generally try to do is go into the booth, drop my stuff, say what's up, maybe make sure they're good, get them a drink. And then I leave and like go bounce around, say hello, go talk to a bartender, go talk to a promoter. And I like give them their space to be able to do their set and not feel like I'm like watching over them.
RM talked about how he did that with you when you went up to I forgot what location you were playing at.
Yeah, he said that to me and I actually appreciated it.
Yeah. That was I never thought about it that way, but he approached it definitely the right way, the correct way to not make you overthink your set, really.
Right. He actually left to go check out another venue and another party because he's like, oh, Kareem's good to go. Like he doesn't need me. I'm not even going to play. I'm going to just let him do his thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm always conscious, no matter if it's a DJ, any DJ in the booth, I'm always conscious of what I'm playing and how I'm playing. But I overthink sometimes in the booth. So that's a lot of it.
Yeah, I feel like we all do, at least to some extent. So,
right. So I'm going to change gears here for a minute. So I'm prepping to do, I haven't done an all hip hop set, probably in years. And I'm playing a party that's going to be, predominantly hip hop, Latin, and like R&B and everything around those genres, right? Afro, probably a little bit. And I'm doing some research on like Spotify, just getting like top 25s and whatnot. and I came across, which is a tool that I haven't seen, but I don't really do prep work on Spotify, but I came across like a viral top 25. So it'd be like stuff that's big on TikTok, you know, and things that are going viral on social media. And now they have like the top 25s on Spotify, which is great. Well, I scrolled through it, and in this particular instance, there wasn't a ton of songs that I would play. But you posed the question via email where we come up with some of our topics, saying, "Is TikTok killing music?" Right? And now I have that question in my mind while I'm scrolling through these songs, and these songs kind of stink. All the ones that they're not DJable, I should say. All the ones that I had never heard of, I should clarify. And as much as you probably think that I'm going to say that it is killing music, I think it's phenomenal for young people specifically that might not have I don't want to say access to, but they don't have people to introduce them to different genres of music. You know, we all talk about like your influences were, you know, your dad introduced you to a lot of different music, right? At an early age. I think that like TikTok really opens people's eyes to a lot of different genres, and it kind of like, and it, once something goes viral, I mean, it really, it's everybody gets to hear it, which is I think a beautiful thing. What's your, you posed the question. So what is your stance on it?
Well, I think my answer is no, TikTok is not killing music. I think through all the different, we've lived through a bunch of eras of music, and right, like how people consume music, how DJs find music. We've lived through some multiple eras here, right? I think initially, like, yeah, the DJs were the ones who were kind of breaking some records, right? And the DJs were the ones who were dictating to customers what is popular, what's new. Then it went from that to like terrestrial radio was kind of like the thing that was pushing the popular music onto people. And you're driving around listening to your favorite radio station, you hear the same songs, you hear the new Drake record once every 30 minutes. And then when they go to when those customers go to the club, they expect to hear that music. I think now it's very different. It's just different. We don't have terrestrial radio. Even like Sirius XM, it's not really the place where people are breaking records. It's like TikTok is where music is kind of getting broken and getting promoted and getting popular. And then now that's translating over to, well, the DJs need to know what's happening on TikTok to get that ooh and ah reaction in the club. And I think you have to use the music that's popular on TikTok in your sets at some point throughout the night, because that's the new hip hop that's hitting kind of thing, you know? And house. There's a bunch of house music that's gone viral there too. There's a bunch of like classic rock stuff that gets remixed that people think is new, you know, like it's interesting.
Right. That's what I was saying, that I was just doing research for a hip hop set. That's not why I went to the viral area. That's not what I thought I was, but I just stumbled across that list. Not knowing that it was there. It was eye opening, and also a tool that DJs, if you didn't know that list was there on Spotify, if you are subscribed to Spotify, go check out their viral top 25 or 50, whatever it might be. This way, you could kind of stay current in case you're not you're not like a user of TikTok as much, because you're right, you do need it in your arsenal. And whether that's a separate crate, like a viral crate, which I think is a great idea to have, and then like, don't stay in that crate, but like sprinkle that stuff in throughout the night just to kind of prove that like you have your ear to the streets, so to speak. I think
it gives you credibility with the younger crowd, which is who those are the people that are coming out, right?
Yeah.
We have to play music that caters to the people that are in front of us. We don't play the music that we like or want to play all the time. And TikTok, the stuff that's popular and has gone viral, the younger generation, the 21 to 25, they know what that is. So it's like, it's easy to work it in too. Like I have a TikTok folder in my Serato, and generally a lot of those songs, it's like hook and out. And I could hit a couple in a row, or like they fit into like my 100 BPM party set or my 70 BPM party set. So I can hit a couple party records and then hit a couple TikTok records and then go somewhere else. And I think that's the way to do it. Uh, so you're playing some relevant stuff, but it goes into your classic party music, so to speak.
It's become an integral part of your DJ set, no matter what or where you play. Because you're right, it is how people are consuming music.
Just to piggyback on two things. First, what you just said, which is, yeah, like this is the survive and advance. You have to adapt. DJs, as you're getting older, you have to adapt and do what is popular and do what's gonna make the people move in front of you. So if you're not willing to do that, you may not get as many bookings, or you might start being considered the old guy that plays the same set that he always played for the last 5 years or whatever. And I think for you and I, it's really important that we don't do that, And I think doing this homework is a great way to do that. But I think it's funny, like you're going to play this hip hop set and you're like, I haven't done this in a long time. But like you've played so many hip hop sets in your day, and a lot of the opening sets that you're playing have a lot of hip hop already in it. As you're playing the set, you're going to breeze through it because there's so much music that's just good over the years that you'll be able to hit, which you probably haven't hit in a while in some cases.
For sure. I mean, my hip hop crate has 35 sub crates. So like there's plenty of music, I'm not worried about that portion of it. I think my programming is what I'm worried about, because programming a set that you haven't done in a long time is very difficult. Because I think my programming at least, has always come with, how would you say, like trial and error. Last week I tried that. It didn't really work, so I'm not going to do that this week.
Yeah.
Or 2 weeks ago, this really hit. Well, let me try that again, but maybe place that set somewhere else in the set, or at a different time. The issue with I have is never played the venue, never even been in the venue, so don't even know like what is happening in there. So like don't know like time frames. Like, oh, is 12:15 the good time? Is 12:45 the good time? Does this place get really good at 1:15? You know what I mean? Like, and that's usually how I program the night, is just knowing.
Well, are you playing a Friday or a Saturday? A Saturday, right?
Playing a Saturday, yeah.
So you should be pretty. You should be pretty good.
Should be good from Jump Street, honestly.
When I played that room, first hour was opening hip hop, and by 11:15 we were going pretty decent.
Yeah, that's what I imagine. I'm thinking about. Yeah, no, I mean, I know what I'm thinking already. It's just the newer hip hop I'm not amazing with. I went through a lot of it this week, and I this is the first time I've ever said this, and I feel really old. But I found about 10 songs that I was into, and everything else uses the same bass line and the same like kick, and I'm like, this sounds the same. I can't even believe I'm saying this. Like, this music sounds the same. And like I was like trying to find, like, is there like a little synth somewhere that's a little different than the last one that sets this apart, that would make this a big track as opposed to that track? And I'm like, I don't even know where. Like, can I even play this in the club? Like, I don't know. It's the first time that I felt old trying to download music.
Well, I mean, it's just you're so disconnected from a lot of the new hip hop. You're not listening to it as much. Like, as an outsider, let's say you could say like, well, every EDM, every tech house song has the exact same 4 on the floor and the same,
a lot. Some of it does. Absolutely.
So you could say it either way for sure, but you're more connected to the house stuff right now than you are to the hip hop stuff. So it's just harder to get through, I think.
I was trying to, and I said that to myself. I said, well, you know what? I don't really consume this music at all, except for a lot of the big party records. So I was trying to get to not the big party records, like the other records that I might not be listening to, that are probably like 70 BPM or 60 BPM, whatever it might be. The way I always downloaded that stuff back in the day, even if I wasn't listening, not even back in the day, a couple of years ago, even if I wasn't listening to it, it was, what are those sounds and elements that sound different than everything else that's out that makes that popular, and then go look for other stuff that has that element in it, right? I just felt like the production, I almost went and looked up who's producing all these records, because I'm like, it could very well be the same person. Which,
well, what were some of the artists that you were like, what can you remember?
Dude, I would have to pull up Spotify to even get through this.
Well, and also, was it mostly like slower BPM stuff, or were you in that?
Yeah, it was all slower
I feel
BPM
like
stuff.
there's been
So
a
like,
number of like 80 BPM records that have been coming out that are playable and are good. And honestly, it's a lot of the girls, just like it's been for the last few years. But
yeah, no, the girl stuff I'm obviously really connected to, but like the newer like Lil Baby, Kodak Black, Roddy Rich, gosh, who else? Quavo, I liked all his stuff, to be honest with you. Quavo has put out some fire shit that I was into. But like, yeah, like a lot of this stuff, I was like, all right, it's okay, but it sounds similar.
well, I think you're doing the right thing for someone who may not be as connected to the music right now. It's like, all right, what are the tools that I can use to go find the most popular stuff that's come out here in the last 6 months, right?
Yeah.
So you're going on Spotify lists, you're checking out the TikTok lists. Obviously, the record pools to me are one of the best ways to connect to a genre of music that you're not necessarily, the most connected to. And you can go look at the various playlists or the most popular songs from those genres. If it's hip hop, you go to DJ City or you go to, Club Killers or DMP and you go look at those lists and the most popular ones and start there.
That's the easiest way to do it. I started with like the hardest way first, because what I like to do here is look at Spotify, see, and then like see what gets posted then on the record pools as well.
Yeah.
Um, and see like kind of what stuff I see 2 and 3 times. I'm on like all the different ways I'm doing my homework, and then like okay, well that's got to be a hit because I've seen it now in 3 different places: Spotify, record pools, and I'm gonna ask Greg like if Greg suggests it or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of the way I approach doing a set that's a little different.
I'm like
Um,
looking at my new hip hop folder and what's in there
I gotta pull mine
and
up
what
here.
I've been playing. A lot of, what I really like, like so a lot of the newer songs. I mean, same thing from years ago, but a lot of the newer songs sample older songs. So many times the record pools will use the old song to bring in the new song. And
Right.
either you could do that on your own or you can use an edit that's been created or create your own edit. A lot of those have been working well for me. Like the Dream Doll fantasy track samples, the Ludacris. What's your fantasy? So same
Right.
BPM.
Right.
So like that's been going off a little bit. Like the Ice Spice track is a TikTok track, I guess, that's going big.
Yep.
F and F has been going big. I mean, that's been out for a little while. Saucy Santana,
Okay.
she's put out some tracks. There's a Booty track that has a Crazy Love Beyonce like intro, and that's been going well. A lot of, like I said, a lot of the stuff is stuff that samples older stuff. So it's like incorporating the 2 tracks into one in some
Right.
way has been working well for me.
Yeah. All right. Running a little tangent after our TikTok conversation, but
Nah, that's all good. I don't know. I think this is a good place, Gary. Let's talk about what we're listening to this week. I mean, are you listening to a lot of hip hop this week? Is that what you're focused on, or?
a little bit. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's not really what I'm listening to, but it's definitely what I've been kind of brushing up on is the new hip hop stuff. If I think of anything in the next 2 seconds, I'll bring it up. But what are you
I
listening
actually
to?
have something that's like on my list of things to check out. I heard it wasn't the best, but I want to listen to the new Kid Cudi album. I've always thought that he's been kind of like interesting with production and the music that he put out. So an album I'll check out at the gym or in the car at some point this week for sure. Let me see what it's called. I think it's called Intergalactic. Yep, Intergalactic.
Yeah, I'm hitting actually, maybe not what I'm listening to, but I'm going to see. I didn't even mean to do this. I'm going to see the War on Drugs tonight at House of Blues. They're like an indie rock band. That should
Don't
be
know
pretty
who that
dope.
is.
No, you wouldn't, and you'd hate them because there's like a little bit of like a synthy element to it that is not 80s, but I know you'd hate it. And then tomorrow, and then tomorrow and Thursday, I'm going to see Bob Weir with the National Philharmonic at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C.
That'll be
Which,
cool and different.
first of all, the Kennedy Center is somewhere I've always wanted to go. I didn't care if it was like a stand up or um, whatever it might be. I didn't care what it would be. But like, this is pretty cool. I could see one of the Grateful Dead members perform with the whole Philharmonic. and then like some of his band, and it's 2 nights in a row. It's gonna be all different music, so I'm super pumped about that. So I'll probably listen to some stuff, to some of that kind of music on the way up. But I guess I got to still do my hip hop homework. That's gonna be it for the rest of the week.
You'll be good, man. It's like riding a bike. You just gotta build out that 2022 folder of stuff that you know works. And
Yeah.
that's the only work, because listen, Gary, hate to break it to you, Gary, you're a hip hop DJ in my eyes. I don't know.
I know. I've I've always been a hip hop DJ.
You just haven't got to do it as much in the last handful of years here.
That was a point that I was going to bring up before, is that like we used to not be allowed to play house at places. You know, that used
anytime
to be,
we stepped foot in New York City was a hip hop party with like, you'd play like 10 house songs the whole night, probably.
right. I mean, Jersey was the same thing. Jersey was the same thing everywhere I played. What is this? What is this house music? What is this you're playing? I'm like, well, it's house. It's different. But that used to be different, like, you know, until the 12 boom of EDM, and that became the radio stuff. So you're right. I mean, I went how many years of being a hip hop DJ? So
yeah,
it is the one thing that it is the one thing that I always look at that dates me a little bit.
All right, so you're up here the next 2 weekends. Where are you this week? Where can people come pop out and say what's up to Gary Dub?
So Friday, I will be at 626. Saturday, I will be at Harris Pool Day with Angelo the Kid. That should be fun. Maybe he'll actually DJ with me this time. Last time he had to go to Charleston. Saturday night, I'm at Kiss Kiss in Atlantic City in Tropicana. Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock for football at the Shep. I'm doing 1 o'clock games and probably the second games, and then doing the no mainstream party at 626 at night. Which, if you want to come hear things that you're not going to hear on the quote unquote radio that are like top 20, 25, come there, because it's going to be like, I just downloaded it.
I'm going to probably come hang out with you on Sunday.
Really good house music. Like, I've been digging all over the place. So there's going to be a little Afro, a little progressive. So I'm excited to play a lot of that stuff.
Sweet. I'm local this weekend. You guys can check out my IG or wherever I post all my stuff. But Hoboken, Jersey City all weekend. Green Rock Sunday, and then I'll probably come pop out and hang out with you at 626. But yeah, man. All right, cool. I'm glad we rocked this out, and you know, we'll do it again in person here next week. But thank you guys for listening to this episode of The Get Down. My name is Kareem.
Gary W.
Peace, guys.
Peace.